Shilo Sanders is impressing Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coaching staff as he works his way up in Buccaneers Minicamp this week and OTAs last week. Here's what Todd Bowles had to say about Shilo Sanders going into last week and his performance in Buccaneers OTAs here. He said his performance in OTAs has been more than just effort. He's smart, vocal, and understands the game. He's been doing a good job from day one. Now, I always thought that Shilo and the Buccaneers was a great fit for him, and I think Todd Bowles is a great coach for Shilo Sanders. I always compared Shilo Sanders to Jordan Whitehead, a safety who was developed also by Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well, and actually is somebody who Shilo Sanders will look up to. Somebody else who Shilo Sanders will look up to as well is Antoine Winfield, who we discussed last week with Alcorn State coach Leroy Frederick on Shilo, who, by the way, is joining the show here pretty soon. But Antoine Winfield on the Shilo Sanders, he says he plays hard, he works hard, he really wants to learn and improve his game. So that's something you can admire from someone who wants to learn and actually play the game. He's a great kid, and I can't say enough about him. Now, yeah, I'm with that. Shilo is a good kid, great character, something I think that goes overlooked with some of the off-the-field rumors and headlines that you see about Shilo. Shilo's a great kid, great personality. I think he should have like a reality show one day because if you've ever watched him, interact with people, he's pretty damn funny. One thing I want to show, going back to Todd Bowles, Shilo Sanders' comments on getting coached up by Todd Bowles. Take a listen to this.
He's a great coach, a great leader, and he's very knowledgeable about this game. And to have a guy like that I could just go talk to whenever and learn football, and him also helped me get this opportunity. Him and my dad got on the phone right after I had signed, and he told him that they was interested in me and they can't wait to see what I can do here. And I just want to, make everybody proud, especially Coach.
I love that. And Coach Prime did phone Todd Bowles and thank him for bringing Shilo into Tampa Bay and giving him an opportunity. And I think it's an opportunity that Shilo's going to make the most out of. If you look at that Buccaneers safety room, a little bit light if you had to consider it. Obviously, the two starters, Winfield, can't say enough about him, getting paid a lot of money for a reason. And then Jordan Whitehead as well, somebody who's been there, went to a couple other teams, kind of bounced around, and now is back in Tampa Bay. Jordan Whitehead, somebody I'm a big fan of, and Jordan Whitehead reminds me a lot of Shilo Sanders, kind of a slower, not as agile, not as great of a hip safety, similar to Shilo, but hard-hitting nonetheless, just like Shilo, who we know lays the wood, so to speak here. I can't wait to see Shilo, work his way up in Tampa Bay Buccaneers minicamp this week. Here you can see him going through Buccaneers DB drills today, actually, in Buccaneers minicamp. I can't wait. I really think that Shilo is a great kid and just needed an opportunity. I feel like he got a lot of shade just because of who his dad was. And, he's kind of an old-fashioned, old-school type of player. You don't see kind of the Jamal Adams box safeties very much anymore in today's game of football. They kind of, elected to be more lighter, a little bit more quicker, kind of different than what you see in Shilo Sanders. So, let's go ahead and highlight Shilo Sanders' character a little bit. Here's something that he did, a little tidbit of news. Shilo actually bought Apple Watches for the entire Colorado Buffaloes football team after signing his rookie deal on Tampa Bay. Here's a video of it. Check it out.
Apple Watch after workouts. Yes, sir, Shilo. Yes, sir, Shilo. Fuck y'all talking about, man? Yo.
I love it. I love it. Shilo, I think it's a great gesture, smart gesture. Definitely will help with Buff CU recruiting in the future. But I saw that. That made me laugh and points to Shilo Sanders' character a little bit, something I think that gets kind of thrown under the rug a little bit, kind of overlooked in the bigger picture of things. And I think it gets overlooked because of who his dad is. People don't like his dad. Obviously, Shilo's had some, off-the-field rumors and, situations that kind of people drag his character down for. But nonetheless, I think he's been proving and will continue to prove, his great character as time goes on. One thing I wanted to address, Coach Prime has been dealing with an unnamed health matter here and is not with the Colorado Buffaloes football team. He's actually back in his estate in Dallas, Texas. Now, he put out a statement I'll go ahead and read for everybody on Twitter saying, "Wow, I am truly blessed for the abundance of well wishes, for all the thoughts and all the prayers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can assure you that everything is okay and will continue to be so. God got me like no other. I have so much more work to do to glorify God, so please believe God got me. I'm excited to get back to Colorado, to be at home with my staff, team, and all associated to our program. When we arrive back to Boulder, you'll be updated on everything. Until then, I'm coming, baby. Hey, a little update from Coach Prime on his health. Obviously, all the prayers go out to Coach Prime and his health matter. We talked about that yesterday on the show. Whatever he's dealing with, obviously, you know, we Matt and I reacted to it in the Asante Samuel interview. Prime did with him looked a little bit lighter, and so, you know, prayers up to Coach Prime. We want Prime healthy and thriving, and I can't wait to see him back in Boulder soon. Colorado's going through summer workouts right now, not real meaningful ball. It's a lot of time with strength coaches, but expect to see Coach Prime back in Boulder soon once he addresses his health ailment here. Prayers up to Coach Prime, and shout out to Coach Prime. Folks, if you're watching, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army today. Today, Alcorn State coach Leroy Frederick joins us in about 9 minutes to talk all things NFL news here, including Cam Ward talking shit to the Titans defense. I love it. I love Cam Ward getting after it. I think Titans fans have been looking for this for a long time. I think folks in the state of Tennessee are learning for some winning Titans football ever since the departure of Coach Mike Vrabel. So, man, I can't wait for Coach Leroy Frederick to join the show here soon. Looking at the future here, I can't wait for Colorado's opener. I hope Coach Prime is back. You know, circling back to Coach Prime and his health. Prayers up to Coach Prime. One thing I wanted to show here as we move forward here, Aaron Rodgers actually talked about, you know, why he chose the Steelers and why the Steelers are a good fit for him. Take a listen to this.
Steelers is the right fit for you. You know, I think it starts with Mike Tomlin. I mean, I've been a fan of his for a long time. There's a few iconic franchises in the NFL. I played for one of them for 18 years. This is another one of those. There's something special about, obviously, this area. So many great quarterbacks are from Pittsburgh. I feel like Pittsburgh has been a part of my career from the beginning. Playing for Mike McCarthy for 13 years, having Tom Clements or Tommy Clements, depending on how old you are, as my quarterback coach forever. Don Capers, Kevin Green, Darren Perry, Ben McAdoo, Frank Signetti, Luke Getsy.
I'm going to say this right now, and I got a prediction. And chat, let me know in the comment section whether you agree with me or disagree with me here, but I got a prediction. I think the Steelers and the Bengals win more games than the Ravens this season. I think the Ravens kind of have a little bit of a down year. I think it's really hard for me to sit here and say Pittsburgh is not going to be successful. Mike Tomlin has found a way to win with the average to mediocre quarterback play. Now you get Aaron Rodgers, arguably the best ball spinner in NFL football here. Man, DK Metcalf as well, who I think is an absolute freaking stud, who the Seahawks should not have traded, but I'm not getting into that. I think the Steelers are going to be legit. I also think the Bengals are going to bounce back. I'm not really going to play into the noise. I hope they better pay Trey Hendrickson. They'd be crazy not to pay him. And then Shamar Stewart can decide whether he wants to play or not. I'm not going to entertain that. But I think the Steelers and the Bengals win more games in total than the Ravens. Let me know whether you agree or disagree. Let's go ahead and move forward. Looking at Shilo's brother here, coming out of ESPN Cleveland, another OTA stat sheet. Now, I mean, I can't do nothing about this but laugh. I'm going to ask Coach Fred about this here in about 5 minutes, but another OTA stat sheet. I'll tell you what, this is all because of Sanders. This is all because of Shador. This doesn't happen if Shador ain't there. This doesn't happen. Like, they don't – you told me the last time you've ever seen an OTA's stat sheet. People are, like, investing into it and putting in, like – people are, oh, shit. Like, you know. Bump your brakes, folks. That said, I mean, I don't know. I still think Shador is going to find his way to get to the field this season for the Browns. I think he's got to beat out Dylan Gabriel first. I think it's going to take a little bit longer than people might think. I think people don't understand drafting a lefty quarterback. You have to really say, hey, I'm going to go all in with running my offense a certain way because the quarterback is lefty. There's certain plays you can't run. You can't run, boot in certain directions. You can't. I mean, I can go on and on about this. There's certain plays you can't run with the left-handed quarterback, and it changes a lot. That's why I think it may take Shador longer to Gabriel, because I think the Browns are going to give Gabriel just as much of a chance as they are Shador. They're not just going to push Shador over Gabriel and act like they wasted a third-round pick. I think that notion that I'm hearing is crazy. Like it's not. Shador got to beat out Gabriel, and it's going to take some time. Now, I would think Flacco's the starter. I would hope Flacco's the starter because I'm a Flacco fan. I would hope Flacco's the starter there. Now, with Kenny Pickett, I've talked about this before, how I believe Kenny Pickett's going to be traded to the Saints just because of the connection with Kellen Moore. Let me know in the comment section whether you agree or disagree. But I think ultimately, if the Cleveland Browns want to have any success this season, they start Joe Flacco. I don't know. I know they gave up DTR and a pick to get Kenny Pickett. I don't know. I think you go with the veteran who's been there, led your team to a playoff run 2 years ago, has won a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP as well. I say you go with him. That's my take on Cleveland Browns. And speaking of Joe Flacco, Joe Flacco had this to say about TikTok dances in the new era that he's in playing NFL football in 2025. Take a listen to this.
When it initially came in, I think Twitter started right around 07, 08. I came in 08. I can remember like the first time I walked into the cafeteria in Baltimore and somebody was like, "Hey, you mind if we tweet this?" And nobody knew what that meant. I think the evolution has kind of come from that's a method to kind of see some stuff and have some fun to like it's the main news source, you know? So the difference now is like that everybody's getting their stuff from there, and it's treated a little bit more seriously because everybody that is the main news source. But you still have the same thing you always have, which is a million different opinions. So it kind of blends like your actual news source with a bunch of other stuff.
Joe's 40. Seeing him try to explain TikTok it's hilarious to me. That makes me laugh. I'm not here defending TikTok by any means. You're gonna you see me post my reels on there, and that's about it. I'm not a TikToker by any means. I just seeing him when you see the clips of Shador dancing, and Joe's like, I've never publicly danced in my life. I think that's hilarious. I also think it's perfect. I think it's a perfect situation for Shador. I think it's somebody who can kind of teach him the maturity of being an NFL quarterback. And if you have a problem with me saying that, how the hell does Shador have the maturity of an NFL quarterback if he ain't never been one? Answer that question. He's got to learn. And Flacco's a great guy to learn from. Flacco's got a ring, got a Super Bowl MVP, been there and done that. I think that's great. Now, we'll see how it plays out when it comes to a quarterback battle. But I think it's great for Shador having Flacco in the room with him. Folks, if you're watching, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army today. Coach Leroy Frederick, Director of Football Ops over at Alcorn State University, joins us here in about 2 minutes here to talk all things NFL news, including Cam Ward and more. Let's see here. Folks, I have another question for the comment section. NFC West. How do you feel about the NFC West? Coach JB asked me on the Coach JB show with Big Smitty this morning. I said something about how I don't think the Seahawks are going to be very good, and he kind of dragged it in how he doesn't think J.J. McCarthy is going to be good and how he thinks the Seahawks are going to be better than people expect because of Sam Darnold. Look, here's how I feel about the Seattle Seahawks. I believe this. I believe that Geno Smith is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. I didn't understand Seattle gutting their entire wide receiver room, or at least their studs that have been there for the last 5 years. DK and then Tyler Lockett's been there for 10 years. And seemingly not – I mean, they brought in Cooper Kupp, which – shout out to Iwu. That's a legend, and I'm happy to see him as a Seahawk. But if you're asking me about how confident I am about the Seahawks in that division, I think it's going to be pretty damn tough for them. I think that division, the NFC West, is the Rams division to lose, really. I think the Rams, it's hard for me to not sit here and tell you that I think the Rams are going to be Super Bowl champions. I think the Rams getting Devontae Adams, reloading, they were a 3rd and 1. They're if 3rd and 1 playing against Philly in the snow, their center misses a block, rookie center, by the way, misses a block on Jalen Carter, Matthew Stafford gets sacked, and essentially ends their playoff run. That's how close I think they were to winning a Super Bowl because damn well if you watch that Eagles-Rams game, the Rams had him beat. Man, if it wasn't for that 3rd down, man, the Rams had him beat. So that's why I'm saying watch out for the Rams this season. I think the Rams are going to be better and the team to beat in the NFC West for sure. let's go ahead and move forward, folks. I've been off. Matt's live here on 0 to 60 today. We'll be live, but we'll be live back, with the full show going into next week on Monday. Matt's, I believe, going to Oklahoma or something over the weekend. So that's why we're not live on 0 to 60 today, or I'm not live on 0 to 60 today. So wait for Alcorn State coach Leroy Frederick to join the show. Make sure you hit that like button. Become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army. And JB on Twitter is crazy. Unbelievable. Let's see here. Shador, here's something about Shador that we didn't touch on before Coach Fred joins the show. Shilo Sanders spent 15 to 20 minutes after Browns minicamp today, getting some extra work in. Shador, I love it. If you're going to play the media, play them this way. It's a smart move. It's good for your game as well. I love seeing shit like this. This is what Shador's got to do. This right here is what Shador's got to do, is work his way up. The little things. It's all about the little things. It's one of my best coaches I've ever had in my football career said to me, it's all about the little things. Shador's starting to take care of the little things. Not that he didn't before, but now he's going out of his way to do it even more. And I think that's what he's got to do to work his way up. He knows the position he's in. He knows he's got to go put his head down, battle, and work his way up. And that's exactly what he's doing. People always say you're a hater of Shador because I said he's got to work his way up. Dog, people that say that, it's like he never played sports before. I don't understand that. I love seeing Shador get this extra work. I love Shador seeing Shador do the little things, because I think ultimately that every little thing that he does is going to help him in the long run. And I love seeing that from Shador. Shout out to him doing that. Let's see if he can continue to work his way up. We're going to cover Browns, all things Browns in the summer and the offseason as we get closer to the season. We're going to have a Browns reporter hopefully on next week. I'm working on it. We got a Browns reporter hopefully joining next week. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking Shador and Browns. We're going to have, again, boots on the ground at Cleveland like we did last week as well. Folks, hit that like button, subscribe, become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army. On the other side, we're going to have Coach Leroy Frederick, the Director of Football Operations and Tight Ends Coach over at Alcorn State University, HBCU Division I. I'll see you guys on the other side with Coach Leroy Frederick. Peace. Welcome back to another edition of Bailey Price Media Live.
Bailey Price Media. I like it.
Back, folks. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army today. One thing I want to touch on before we go bring in our special guest here, Shamar Stewart versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Something's got to give. This is what I said this morning when it comes to the Shamar Stewart, the Bengals refusing to pay Trey Hendrickson his money, even though he goes under the radar because he's a great defensive end, great edge rusher, man. He goes under the radar like crazy. Something's got to give in Cincinnati. Shamar, you're going to have to wake up and understand the organization that you play for instead of going back and forth that the Cincinnati Bengals, because that is an organization notorious for not, being kind of player friendly when it comes to contracts. I mean, I go on and on about the Cincinnati Bengals and, comparing them to other NFL franchises and the way they've handled things. Something's got to give. I think the Bengals got to pay Trey Hendrickson. They obviously, or seemingly, I'm going to say seemingly implied, drafted Shamar Stewart to replace Trey Hendrickson. It's going to be interesting. Joe Burrow, his voice, come out and said how he wants the Bengals to pay Trey Hendrickson. I mean, shit, if I were him, I'd want him to pay him too. I think Trey Hendrickson's a great player. And I mean, what's really tough for me is Trey Hendrickson, I believe, is coming off the best year of his career. And you're not going to pay him? Really? I mean, it's just so ironic. That division, you got TJ Watt in Pittsburgh doing the same thing. And I don't know how you pay either. Like, you got to pay both of them, especially TJ Watt in that sense, but also Hendrickson. Especially Hendrickson coming off his best season yet. You have to pay him. I really something's got to give with Cincinnati because I think they have the potential to be a great, great team this season. I mean, obviously, kind of unlucky last year, but I think they're gonna have a great, great year this season. I think they're gonna take NFL football by storm here and take that division by storm here. Got to beat the Ravens, and I think like I said, Steelers Bengals gonna be better than the Ravens. I said it earlier, I'm gonna say it again. That's my prediction. We'll see, whether it plays out to be true or not. Folks, go ahead and hit that like button. Become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army today. And before we bring in our guest, let's drop your prediction in the chat. Who starts for the Cleveland Browns week 1? I say Joe Flacco. I've been saying Joe Flacco, and I don't think that's going to change. Also, who gets dealt? I say Kenny Pickett. Chat, let me know whether you agree, disagree. Where's Shador going? What do you think? Let me know. It's going to be interesting. I think Flacco – because here's the thing. If Flacco goes in there and starts winning, Shador ain't playing. They're not going to go and play a rookie if Flacco's winning. Same with Kenny Pickett, in my opinion. It's going to be really tough for them having success. Say, no, we're going to go play our rookie now and then potentially not have success. It's tough for me to see that, especially after – Cleveland's desperate. So it's tough for me to see that. So – if Shador plays, it's Cleveland's going to be down. Like Cleveland's going to be struggling. That's when you're going to see Shador play, which also I will say is kind of alarming. If you think about it, it's same recipe with Johnny Manziel. I'm not going to say it with Baker. Baker went and won a playoff game and they got rid of him. So that's my only pushback with Cleveland and why I'm concerned about Shador in Cleveland a little bit is I don't want him just to get thrown out there when they're horrible. Then he looks horrible. Then he is kind of we know the media circus that's going to come if he has one bad play in an NFL game, let alone anything else. They're doing OTA stat sheet. Do I need to go further? But it's going to be interesting, folks. I think it's Flacco's job to lose. I think Kenny Pickett's gone, and if he's not, I'd be really, really surprised. Folks, we're going to go ahead and take a brief commercial break and go ahead and pay the bills. When we come back, I want to go ahead and bring in our main man, Coach Leroy Frederick, and talk a lot of different topics with him, including Cam Ward, who reportedly talk his shit in Titans minicamp, which I love to hear about that. I think Cam Ward is a freaking stud, and I think the Titans are desperate. Like, Titans need to win now. So I can't wait to see Cam. I think he's going to be the week 1 starter. So a lot of potential there, folks. We're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break and be back in 2 minutes. See you on the other side. Sun Devil, now with the New York Giants, Cam Scatterbo. I wanted to ask you about him. He's one of my favorite players, going back to watching him play in his Big Sky conference days at Sac State. But I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on Cam Scatterbo's potential for the Giants headed into the season? He's got to battle Tracy Jr. there for the running back spot, but I expect him to get plenty of rub headed into the season, probably plenty of burn. But Chris, what are your thoughts on Cam Scatterbo's potential for the Giants?
Well, what I think a lot of people may not realize about Scatterbo is he improved quite significantly between his junior season and his senior season. He lost 10 to 15 pounds. He got lighter, leaner, more explosive. The big knock on his game is he's a 4.7 40 guy. He's truly amazing in terms of his contact balance and his ability to get yards after he's been hit by defensive players. That will be tougher, of course, at the NFL level, but he is still going to physically wear on opponents. He's someone who, when guys are tackling and you're playing real football, he always elevates. So in practices, when you're thud mode and you're not tackling, he might not separate from a Tyrone Tracy or Singletary, but as soon as they get into exhibition football and you got guys trying to like stop him and he's dragging them consistently for extra 2, 3, 4 yards, that's going to be a hard thing. And also he's an underrated third down back because He's gonna blow up some people as a pass protector, especially as he gets a little bit more technically sound. And he's very adept at catching the ball out of the backfield, getting upfield quickly. So there's a lot of things to his game. He only had one fumble last season also, so he's reliable. He plays through injuries. He had a shoulder injury that was pretty bad. Only missed one game with a pretty serious injury. So there's a lot of things that line up extremely well for him. He's just not gonna run away from defenses in the NFL. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of hard yards, but he's built for that.
No, definitely he's built for that. And I think he kind of sticks out in backs in the NFL. Definitely a bruiser. We just showed a play from his Arizona State days. Definitely a bruiser. Definitely a guy who has no problem getting to the second level and will definitely cause some DBs some trouble with those arm tackles. Chris, I wanted to show a video of Cam Scatterbo talking about what motivates him as he heads to the NFL, battles his NFL process here. Take a listen to this.
Cam, how do you keep finding the chip on your shoulder and to prove people that you can still do more?
Yeah, how many snaps of the NFL have you seen me play? 0, right? I've proved nothing. I've proved what I am in college, but I've proved nothing at this level. So now where I'm at, I have to prove myself. And if that's for 5 years or if that's for 10 years, I'm going to continue to prove myself. I'm the best, do it for the longest. So I'll continue to do that and just work my butt off until time comes.
I love it. Humble cat. He's my age, and he's got that type of humility and stuff. I love that. Chris, kind of talk about Cam's personality, his work ethic, his habits and stuff as he gets closer to training camp and battling out in Giants minicamp.
Well, I think you have to start by talking about the culture that he comes from. He was a completely overlooked, unheralded guy coming out of this Sacramento area. Ends up at Sac State, no other scholarship offers. So when that is your origin story, you feel like you have a lot to prove. And that doesn't just go away when you had 1 or 2 years of success, and especially not when you are coming from an ASU culture, which is a lot more process-oriented, process-driven than results-oriented. So their focus is always about how do you get 1% better every day, rather than, oh, let's all celebrate like we made it because we had one game of success or one season of success or anything. I love that attitude. It reminds me of the famous Kobe Bryant, is the job finished? Job's not finished line, which the very, very best are the guys who will relentlessly come at you even when they already are rich and successful.
And we're back. And without further ado, waste no further time, our special guest is here. Our main man, Director of Football Operations and tight end coach over at Alcorn State University, my main man, Coach Leroy Frederick, joins the show. Coach Fred, what up? You hear me? I think you might be muted, Coach. You hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What up?
What's happening, man? How you doing?
Good, good. Your audio is a little quiet. Are you on headphones or you're on the phone? Make sure.
I'm on my phone, but copy on my end as well. Hold on. Let me do something here.
Yeah, take your time. No worries. It's weird for Coach Fred to fix his audio. Give him a sec. We're about to talk a lot. Cam Ward here. Cam Ward been kind of making plays here at Titans minicamp. Also been talking a little shit. We got to talk about that. Coach Fred, we got you.
Yeah. How is it? Still choppy?
Well, it's just a little quiet. That's all. I don't know if it's like muffled or something.
How is it now?
Sounds the same. Well, it works. Let's go ahead and get into it, Coach. I think it'll work out. I can't thank you enough for joining. You hear me? Everything good?
Let me jump back out. Let me jump out and I'll come right back in.
All right. Sounds good. As we wait for Coach Fred to join back, one thing I wanted to kind of show here. Actually, I'll go ahead and I'll save it for Coach Fred. I wanted to save that. that's something I wanted to talk with Coach Fred about. Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels. You know how much Tar Heels we talk on this show. We're going to talk a little bit more here when we get Coach Fred back in a second. Folks, if you're watching and you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army today. I can't thank you enough for watching this show. I really appreciate all the support we've been getting on the show, all the new subscribers, all the new members. I can't thank you guys enough. I really appreciate you guys tuning in here. Let's go ahead and bring in Coach Fred again. We got you?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we still hear you. It's still kind of quiet, but it should be good. Let's just roll with it.
How about now?
Yeah, it's the same. It's all good. You want to turn your phone sideways?
I think I figured it out. Hold on one sec, baby. I think I figured it out.
No, you're good. Don't worry about it, Coach. We good. I'll bring you in a second. Oh, man. Technical difficulties. Gotta love technology, folks. I could tell you how much I love it. I deal with it every day, and I'm constantly fighting with the damn technology. Let's see how Coach Fred is now. Coach, you got you?
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah, we hear you. It sounds the same, but let's go ahead. Let's get into it, Coach. Let's go ahead and let's talk a little, Titans, talk a little NFL football here. This is kind of an interesting tidbit that, Coach, I can't wait to discuss with you, get your take on it. This is interesting. Cam Ward has been making plays in Titans minicamp and working his way up, and also talking a little trash to the defense, Coach. Yesterday in Titans minicamp, he reportedly completed 18 out of 18 passes in a row after throwing an early interception in Titans minicamp here. Coach, I wanted to go ahead and show Brian Callahan's comments on Cam Ward's performance, and also Cam Ward talking trash in Titans minicamp. Take a listen.
I'll be honest. I'm not used to calling plays to a quarterback who's usually still talking when I'm talking to him. And that's great. And so I asked him after practice, and I said, just help me out here. Do you need me to wait till you finish? And he goes, no. He goes, I'm listening. So he's hearing what I'm telling him, and it was a pretty remarkable to see all the things going on and how much he's talking, but like his brain is still like with me, I guess is the best way to put it. Like when I'm calling a play, he's doing all he's doing, but he's listening to everything I'm telling him, and he enters right into the huddle and he calls a play and doesn't script the play call. And I thought that was actually kind of remarkable. I couldn't do.
Man, Coach, Cam Ward doing his thing. What are your takeaways from hearing Brian Callahan talk about Cam Ward talking shit in Titans minicamp? Coach, go ahead.
I like the competitiveness. You know what I mean? As long as the head coach is cool with it, he's getting the plays. I guess, he hadn't had to tell him to set the F up yet, Yeah. So as long as the plays continue, and sometimes, you've been as long as it doesn't show up as being an issue.
No doubt. And to your point, I think the Titans offense needed it. And Titans OC, Nick Holtz talked about the energy that he's getting from Cam Ward and said the offense might have needed it, not had it as much before. Coach, take a listen to this.
That level of poise at some point when somebody was talking to me like Jeff, but it was fun. I think that's an energy to practice. We, when it's handled well and it's kind of doesn't ever go too far, but it brings everybody's kind of energy level up a little bit. And probably on offense, it's a little something we've needed. We need a little bit of edge to us. And there's so far, it's June, whatever the day is, but Cam's got a little bit of that to him, and I think it's good. Everybody kind of feeds off of that, which is good.
Yeah, I think it's healthy. I think it's definitely especially for coming from your starting rookie quarterback, that definitely can feed on, especially if that organization is all bought in and behind him. And the Titans are. Coach, I think the Titans have been waiting for somebody like Cam Ward, yearning for somebody and a quarterback like this. I think he's in a great situation. Let me say this. Titans offensive line coach Bill Callahan, one of the greatest offensive line coaches ever, certainly developing the offensive line for Cam Ward. I think that'll play a big part in Cam Ward's development as a rookie, having a great offensive line, and offensive linemen within that. One of those offensive linemen, J.C. Latham, talked about Cam Ward kind of getting after it in Titans minicamp here. Take a listen to this, Coach Fred.
I think he holds himself to a leadership accountability. He'll admit when he's wrong, and he'll take accountability, even if, it's not 100% on him. But I think one thing that really speaks out about Cam, I don't know if you guys saw it, but, Jeff likes to talk a lot of mess out there. And, Cam is all for it, and he's matching it. And then Jeff must have got a little close to him, and Cam headbutted Jeff. So it's like, like as a quarterback, especially a rookie who, hasn't even played his first snap to, see Jeff as like top dog of the team, like, he's going right at him. He's not backing down. He's not like, oh, I'm just some quarterback. He's going right at him, the head of the snake. So, that's the type of quarterback he is. So, it's a pleasure playing.
Not afraid. Cam Ward going at Jeffrey Simmons? Whoa, shit, Coach Fred. We're going to show Jeffrey Simmons' comments on Cam Ward in a second, Coach. But what are your thoughts on hearing that from J.C. Latham, who, by the way, is a freaking stud. He's a great player. But Coach Fred, go ahead.
That's that's a little different, like you said.
Yeah.
Not only the quarterback talking, but the quarterback talking to the star of the team is he's the new guy in, and he's talking to the old head, the star, basically, giving it back to him. Again, I love the competitiveness. I think they love it as well. It's not going to be a problem, so it's a problem, so to speak. Now, when they have those joint practices, I'll be willing to bet you right now, baby, a dime to a dollar. There's going to be a strap behind something he does or says in one of those joint practices. If all this is going on with his team, just imagine when the other team shows up.
Oh yeah. And luckily for Cam Ward, he's got big J.C. Latham and several other linemen that'll protect him, and I'm sure go out
back him up
in joint practices. Yeah. But going back to J.C. Latham talking about how Cam Ward was going at Jeffrey Simmons, kind of trash talking. Here's Jeffrey Simmons' comments on Cam Ward trash talking in Titans minicamp.
Weekend, I was like, I'm gonna be talking smack to you too. So, it's fun. I think at the end of the day, as you guys saw it and I saw it myself, that when you can have a guy with that much confidence as a rookie. I haven't spent that much time around Cam, and we talk going back and forth, talking smack with each other, and he was able to get back in the huddle and still throw the ball down the middle of the field. So I think that was the most impressive thing, not him talking smack to me, but I think being able to get back in the huddle, get the play to the guys, and still operate the offense. I think that was the most impressive thing.
Talking shit and still operating, Coach. What are your takeaways from Jeffrey Simmons' comments there?
That's high praise, man. Because you could almost believe, you could bet your bottom dollar had that issue happen, and then he came out there and threw 4 picks. The level, it's the quarterback. And if he comes unraveled, everything else becomes, unraveled. But to see that he can do that, I'm sure those guys are getting really excited about the fact that, okay, he can play and talk at the same time. That's got to be something good,
Yeah, definitely. And I can't wait to see it. I think the Titans are – God, I said they're a quarterback away last year, Coach. I still think in that division that, to me, is super wide open besides – I think the Texans are going to be solid. Again, it all depends on C.J. Stroud, but I think the Texans are going to be pretty solid. The Colts, I think, are – they're going to be started on them. They've got to figure out their quarterback situation first. Jaguars are a big question mark to me, and they kind of fall in the same boat as the Titans because – if this works right, man, the Titans could be, a surprising team, Coach.
Definitely.
I'm really excited to see Cam. I know how badly Titans fans want winning football in Tennessee ever since the departure of Vrabel. So, I just can't wait to see it. For the state of Tennessee out here in that, Nashville and stuff, it's going to be great, Coach. Coach, let's move forward. I don't know if you saw this. Coach Prime is dealing with an unspecified health issue, and he's not in Boulder right now. He's out in his state in Dallas, Texas, and he put out an apology saying, I can assure you that everything's okay and will continue to be so. God got me like no other. I have so much more work to do to glorify God, so please believe God got me. I'm excited to get back to Colorado, to be at home, my staff, team, and all associated to our program. When we arrive back in Boulder, you will be updated on everything. So Coach Prime's away from CU right now. Obviously, the Buffs started summer workouts on June 2nd, but they're just, how that is. It's just working, a lot of conditioning, working with the strength coach, who's Coach Andrew Swayze, former strength coach over at Miami for 15 years, long time. But, Coach, what are your thoughts? Coach Prime dealing with something. Prayers up to him.
Definitely prayers up. And, you hit it right there on the head. This time has been there really around the strength coach more than staff, so to speak, anyway. So, this, him taking the time to get back from what it is he's dealing with. Hopefully it's not those clots again, that type thing. That's a serious issue that cause the amputations and stuff like that. So hopefully he's not dealing with that again. But, coaching wise, team wise, not a whole lot of that going on right now anyway. So, if you had to have a time, this would be the time for him to be able to be away from the team.
No doubt. And but I think it was I showed a video. Uncle Neely talked about Prime's health, and he said it's fine. He said he's fine, dealing with a little setback or something. It's really not clear. I'm not really trying to dive into it. I just he's dealing with something serious enough that he's not in Boulder. He's out in Dallas. That's something to note. But I offer my prayers up for Coach. Expect to see him back for the season, and got a massive 2025 season ahead and a massive Georgia Tech Week 1 matchup ahead.
Big expectations. Expectations.
Yeah, definitely, Coach, definitely. Before we get out of here, I wanted to show something. You know how much we love talking Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels on the show. Bill Belichick says that he and the North Carolina Tar Heels are bought in and ready to work. Coach, take a listen to this.
These are great kids to work with. They really are. We've had great buy-in. There have been really no problems at all. I mean, these guys are on time. They're early. They work hard. They put in the work on the weight room, in a weight room out on the field. They spend time on their own, whether it's doing extra training or coming over and watching film and that type of thing. They've made a ton of improvement, and these guys are a lot better than they were when we started in January on every level. And so it's exciting to see where that's going to take us. I don't know. Maybe we're close to the peak, or maybe we're, only a quarter of the way up the hill. I don't know, but we'll see. But the improvement's been very good, and I think the players, based on the improvement that we made from January to April, I'll let them speak for it. I don't want to speak for them, but I would say that based on the improvement that we made during that time frame, that's kind of generated some momentum to. If we keep working like this, we're gonna continue to get better.
I love Coach, man. I mean, yeah, I'm sure they're bought in with you, Coach. Shit, and I also think that I think the Tar Heels are gonna surprise people, Coach. I don't know how many times I can say this on this show. I think they're going under the radars with the people they brought in, the transfers they brought in. They've gotten a lot of good kids in the portal that are kind of going under the radar. I don't hear a lot of people saying that. I just don't. I just hear them talking about the girlfriend, how Belichick's going to be gone. That's what I've heard since January. Coach, what are your takeaways from Bill saying that? And, go ahead.
If anybody on this thing is from North Carolina or have North Carolina ties, I need you to get my boy Bailey some gear ASAP. Because he is driving the hype train for y'all at maximum speed. You know what I mean? He's driving it. And for your sake, Bailey, I hope this actually freaking happens. I hope she doesn't do anything to get Coach kicked out the room.
I'm not worried about that.
This can happen. You know what I mean? I really hope it for you. But that's what you say at this point in time. He's not gonna come out and say we suck, we stink.
Right.
But again, like you said, any kid that would go there, got to know why they're going there, who they're going for. So of course they're going to do things the right way. I don't think he'll have too many kids testing him or testing his rules or anything like that. So, I would expect everybody in the building to have total buy-in just because of who he is, the jury that comes with him. The mystique that comes with him, he's the whisperer. And, if I'm a kid with any pro aspirations, man, hopes, dreams, I've got to hang on every word he says. And, if he says go right, I got to go right. If I want to make it, that's got to be the mindset. And I think that's the mindset in that room. If it's not, I'm like you, Bailey, man, you got to be out your mind.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the biggest thing when it comes to, it doesn't surprise me that he's saying that the players have buy-in. I've talked about it, and they've highlighted it, him and Michael Lombardi. They're building a professional organization, and these are young kids that I think, are yearning for structure in a way. I think a lot of kids in my generation benefit from that, and I think even more so in this case because of the organization they're building. that's why I think part of the reason, I mean, they're going to have buy-in either way. They're built, but them building a professional organization only increases that, in my opinion. It only makes me more excited about them, Coach. And 8 games is my ceiling for them. I think their win total is ironically 7.5. 8 games is my ceiling for them. And to me, a wide open ACC conference, that's my ceiling for them, Coach. And obviously it's early, so we're speculating, but they're starting Gio Lopez, paying him a lot of money. I think he's a great kid. They got a lot of kids that I think are good players, and I can't wait to see it, Coach.
So you're going with the over?
Yeah. That's one of the yeah. Them, I would look at. I don't know. Like these are just I don't really look at the number. I'm like, these are the teams that I think are going to be good. Then I'll go look at it, and if it makes sense in this case, like sure. Vanderbilt, I don't know what their win total is. I'm going to take the over. I think they're going to be even better. People always want to shit on Vanderbilt and say they're horrible, and that's why they beat Alabama last year because no one saw that coming. Except I did say something to Matt that Friday about it, and anyway, that's a whole thing. But like I said, something about that, and it wouldn't happen. Vandy, South Carolina, I've told you, Coach, I think is going to win the SEC. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
I think Lenore Sell is a great player. JB thinks he's the next coming of Anthony Richardson. I think that's batshit crazy. But I think South Carolina reloading really good. And I mean, they were the roughing and passer away from going to the playoff, Coach. They had a pick six that got called back for roughing the passer or something. And then they ended up, I mean, the rest is history, Coach. I'm not LSU game. Yeah. Other teams off the top of my head, I think I'm interested to see how good Colorado is, Coach, just because I cover them. I think, people I think are expecting them to be horrible or a lot worse than, they actually are. I think they're going to be, at least they're going to compete.
They're going to be better.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be better.
But I got to see what they do at quarterback, Coach, because if they go and start, they got Julian Lewis and Matt's like, they're going to start Juju. I'm like, dude, if you start a 17-year-old kid, I mean –
and have a run game.
I guess it's fine. I don't know. I think I like Kaden Salter, so I'm like, at least start the veteran and then sprinkle in Juju. But like, also I think Juju could benefit in the same way that Arch Manning has benefited from sitting behind Quinn Ewers, Juju and Kaden Salter. Kaden Salter's played 5 years of college football, thrown for 5,000 yards, played against Oregon, another big time competition at Liberty. I don't know. Those are my thoughts, Coach. Any rebuttal?
Juju's got a lot of money going on right now, so.
I'm not. These are my predictions. Whether I bet these, I'm definitely.
No. I'm just saying, Juju's got a lot of money behind him right now. I don't know if all that money wants to see him with a clipboard and an earpiece writing down plays. You know what I mean? So that'll be interesting to see. But I really think they'll be better. I got to go back and look at this Tar Heel team on paper that you keep talking about before I get that, and their schedule.
Yeah. Take a look. They open up with TCU. Josh Hoover. I think I don't know if they play. I know in 2026 they're going to Dublin to play, but I want to say they open at home with TCU in the grass. I'm not 100% confident on that, but I know they play TCU week 1. So
that's going to be that'll be part of the measuring stick, Their quarterback situation, North Carolina, I think is a good one because that kid, is battle tested.
Gio,
has some hours behind him. And once you have one of those, you have a fighting chance. So I got to go back and look and see if you got room for me on that hype train or not. I gotta go look at the schedule just to make sure because you're driving it pretty hard. You're driving it hard.
I am with reason. You mentioned Gio Lopez, who's there. He South Alabama transfer quarterback, obviously presumed to start for the Tar Heels. I'm guessing to pay him a pretty good amount of money. Reportedly, I think 2 years, $4 million or something like that. You're getting paid a little chunk of money. Played for Major Applewhite. I don't know if you remember that name. Head coach down in South Alabama. Played for him last season.
Quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Great coach. Great somebody good enough to prepare Gio to move up. And so I think with the reason he did that. Coach, before we get out of here, I don't know if you saw this. There's another OTA stat sheet tracker coming out of ESPN Cleveland and Cleveland Browns minicamp here. I don't know if you've been following the Browns quarterback competition. This has been the most covered OTAs I've ever seen in the history of the NFL. I mean, you got stat sheets coming out and all this stuff, but I talked about it. Shedeur, he's working his way up. I think if Shedeur is going to play this season, the Browns got to be shitty. Because if the Browns are good by any means with Flacco or Pickett, I don't see Sanders playing. I could see maybe Dylan Gabriel. Like I think it's a lot more likely you see Dylan Gabriel play than Shedeur right now. Like I think Dylan Gabriel definitely plays earlier than Shedeur in the season. This notion that Shedeur is just going to go and jump all three quarterbacks, and especially the left-handed rookie that they drafted ahead of him, I think that's crazy. Just from just knowing what it takes, left-handed quarterbacks, you got to design your offense around it. You don't just – it's not the same. I mean, a lot of shit changes now. But, Coach, you see this on Twitter at all, another OTA stat sheet.
Again, when we talk about the hype train, man, it's off the rails up there right now. It's going to be interesting because I'm wanting to see, because of all the outside noise, I want to see how Cleveland is going to move. If they're going to force this circle into this square peg, or if they're going to let this thing kind of happen. Sitting there watching kind of, little stuff that I see with Joe Flacco. Flacco can still spin it. He's the wily veteran. And then what you just said, the business model doesn't make sense for them to do that with Sanders and with Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett, because they gave something up for him, right? Yeah. In a sense, they gave something up for Dylan Gabriel. Yeah. So unless you just want to admit to the world that you're crazy, you're in there picking things off a dartboard, throwing stuff against the wall, whatever, sticks as a organization, then go ahead and do that. But then I think that puts a microscope on your organization as to how you handle business. And now the free agency thing comes into play, because who wants to come and play somewhere there that's not stable, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I'm with you on that. I just think the business model doesn't allow for what all the Twitter GMs are saying needs to happen or is going to happen at this point.
Facts. Well said, Coach. Well said. Something Joe Core brought up in the chat here. JJ McCarthy has 36 OTA touchdowns. And Joe, who does OTA stats? The ESPN Cleveland. They have done now 4, so they're killing it. And shout out to them. And I'll try to get some of the reporters on my show soon. But Coach, I sent like a chat to JB and Smitty this morning while they were doing the show, saying the Seahawks are going to be horrible. And then JB was like arguing. He brought me on and arguing with me about the Seahawks and how they're going to be better than people think mostly because he doesn't think JJ McCarthy is going to be good on the Vikings. Now, I disagree with him both takes. I think JJ McCarthy is going to be like surprisingly good on the Vikings. I mean, it's when they invest, you know how good that team was last season, and they go invest a bunch of money in that offensive line, go invest a bunch of money in little pieces that'll help JJ McCarthy. I think it's going to be really, unless they straight up made a wrong pick, I think it's going to be really hard for him not to be successful on that team. Looking at Seattle's a big question mark to me, because they were like rebuilding after they get rid of Russ. You fire your coach in the middle of it, and then you trade your star quarterback and receiver. So it is really hard for me to have any confidence in anything Seattle Seahawks right now. The only thing I'm confident or even happy about is that they signed Cooper Kupp, who is a Eastern Washington legend. That's it. Coach, what are your thoughts on JJ McCarthy and the Vikings before we get you out of here?
Unless JJ just falls off the cliff with his play, he's got 2 of the better receivers in the league. Just get it close. He has a decent run game. Mm-hmm. Offensively, like you said, they upgraded some spots there on that offensive line. They had a few injuries last year. And again, the offensive coordinator, the head coach, has to tailor that to work for him. But you have 2 of the best receivers in the league, decent run game, and defensively, you've got a chance as well.
Oh, yeah.
That can help him. You know what I mean? JJ, hey man, all you got to do if we get up 7, just don't turn it over. We can cut the water off. That helps a lot. He doesn't have to get into a track meet. I'm kind of like you. They had to have seen a lot that they really liked, A, to pick him when they did, and then B, to let what his name walk last year in free agency after the year that he had, because they had an opportunity to bring him back. So they've seen something, and I got to believe that they've seen something that's going to be in the positive for their franchise. So I got to believe JJ, and he was off to a good start last year, if you remember, before he got hurt.
Yeah, and I also talked to Sean King about this, Sean King coached JJ McCarthy at IMG Academy. Sean talked about how in Vikings training camp, JJ was, I don't know how true this is, but JJ was reportedly beating out Sam Darnold. So, yeah. I mean, I just look, I think I'm pretty confident Kevin O'Connell in that system. I think people are jumping to conclusions with JJ McCarthy and don't really, I mean, he's got to beat 14 wins, yes, but also you saw that team last year, Coach. I think I don't know. I don't think JJ McCarthy is going to shut down the way Sam Darnold did in the last 2 games that he played for the Minnesota Vikings, if that makes sense.
And does he really have to win 14 games? Or does he have to get them to the playoffs? You know what I mean?
Probably more of that, yeah. You just gotta win, and that team is so loaded, dude. It's just, man. It's so hard for me to say, man, they're going to be horrible. Do you know how much money they spent on the offensive line this offseason? They got Will Fries and all the other cats. I'm like, damn, I don't know. I don't understand the notion of that. I was pretty optimistic of JJ. I talked about it with Sean and how optimistic Sean is. So, I mean, it's just, we'll see, man. We'll see. Unbelievable. Arguing with JB. Coach Fred, you live tonight? You got a show tonight?
I do. I'm sorry I missed the show this morning. I had a meeting with some people on campus, so I try to catch you guys every morning. I'm sorry I missed that, but yeah, tonight, 5 p.m. Central, Common Man Podcast, Driving 5. Got a beat writer on there.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. Rick Brown's gonna come join us, beat writer for the Bucs, formerly with the Orlando Magic as well. So we're gonna talk a little bit of that and a little bit of the beat writing business, how you get into it, what you do, a little football, and keep it moving, man.
Do me a favor. I want you to ask. He's a Buccaneers beat writer, right?
Right.
I want you to ask him about Damon Watson, that big D tackle that's 450 that played at Florida. I saw him lining up with Vita Vea and them and doing something. Are they really all in on that kid? Because I think if he gets it, I don't know. It's really tough. He's really big, man.
They really like him.
I want to know about him because that's a player I always was a fan of, and I don't know. I saw he's working his way up.
Yeah, he's actually from my area. We grew up around the same place. Of course, he's way younger than me, but I know people that kind of know him. But we worked their rookie OTAs 2 weeks ago, and Charlie Strong is the D-line coach there now, whatever, and he's really high on that kid, and they are working on him. He has to hit the scale every day. It's got to keep coming down, but he's just a big human being, baby, and it's not just it's just man, this dude is just
coach, he's huge. He can move for whatever, 420 or whatever it is. He's just got to keep trimming it down, right?
Yeah, which is crazy. But they've got, of course, unlimited resources, but they've got the nutritionists, they've got everybody working with him, trying to get his weight down. But they actually really, really like this kid. And think that this kid, if he can continue to beat that weight, can be really, 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 really good in the league. So yeah, they're really excited about it.
Okay, yeah.
Being in the building, man, is crazy. Yeah, they love that kid.
Definitely. And man, I saw him repping with Vita Vea, and I think the D-line coach. I didn't even know the D-line coach was Charlie Strong. I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but man, that makes me excited for the kid. That also makes me. I mean, ask him about Shilo too. All the Colorado fans that are watching here, listening to me talk about Shilo. Go tune into Coach Fred's show tonight. Coach Fred's got a Bucs beat writer. I'm sure he'll ask about Shilo and talk about Shilo a little bit. So go and tune into the Common podcast tonight with Coach Leroy Frederick. Oh
yes,
man.
yes.
Coach, I can't thank you enough for joining. Love to have you on again soon. We might actually be live here Friday. I might have to text you. We might be live here again soon, so I'll holler at you. And can't thank you enough for joining. Everyone watching, go check out Coach Fred on the Common Man podcast. Coach, can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Bailey. As always, baby.
Appreciate you, Coach. See you soon. Shout out to Alcorn State Director of Football Ops and Tight Ends Coach Leroy Frederick for joining the show. Bringing the juice every week as Coach Fred always does. If you're watching, go check out Coach Fred tonight, 5 p.m. Central, in the Common Man podcast. He's having a Buccaneers beat writer join the show. I'm going to tune into that too because I got to hear him talk about Big Demond and Shilo as well. Folks, we're going to be live here tomorrow on Bailey Price Media Live. I got a very special guest for you covering Texas Longhorns football. Eric Henry joins the show. Folks, if you're a Longhorn, don't want to miss tomorrow's show. We'll also talk, sure we'll talk something Colorado. Who knows what will come out. We'll also talk NFL news and more. And next week, we'll be talking some more Shilo Sanders, try to get another Browns reporter on this show, get some boots on the ground in Cleveland here on this show. Also, I'm working on getting somebody out here in the state of Tennessee, somebody boots on the ground covering the Titans as well, folks. So next week, we got some loaded shows. Stay tuned tomorrow. We're going to be live here tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. And then, loaded week here, folks, on Bailey Price Media Live. If you're watching, please go ahead and hit that like button. Always appreciate you guys hitting the like button. Become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army today. Anything you do to support this show helps, and I can't thank you guys all enough for tuning in. Adam Marcy, I appreciate you. You've been a loyal supporter. You're the man. Shout out to you, brother. I appreciate you tuning in every single show. I'll see you guys all tomorrow, and I hope you guys have a great and beautiful and glorious Wednesday. Thank you for watching. Peace.